Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. We are Millennial Mom. If you don't know who is who, I'm Millennial. This is Mom.
Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, I'm Mom or Kay from Millennial Mom, and today we're going to talk about the never-ending season of Married at First Sight, season 17, episode 21, Climbing Down from Decision Day. If you're new here, please don't forget to, like the video. Even if you are new, like the video. Replay gang, also like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Leave me your comments so I know what you thought about this episode. Yes, I know they could be snooze fest. It's long and boring, but I think with Michael and Chloe, we're finally getting to the nitty gritty of things. And we're finally getting ready to see some things coming along that I didn't necessarily see coming with Michael, since Michael is, in my opinion, an over-explainer and just, has to have every thought that's on his mind put out there. Looks like there's some bumps in the road. So I didn't see this necessarily coming from Michael. I saw it mainly from Chloe, but maybe, I don't know, my eyes have deceived me and it'll be something else going on. Before I see who's in the chat, let me go ahead and give a recap of last night's episode. But first is going to go into what happened last week, which flows into this week's episode. So on last week's episode, the remaining couples, if they were really considered couples, I mean, technically they were. I like to call them participants, but all right, the remaining couples decided whether they would stay together or get divorced, and we knew the majority would say no. Lauren and Orion already said no weeks ago. Cameron and Claire already said no, technically, but officially they did last week. Emily and Brennan, no brainer, no off top from both. And then Becca and Austin, for some reason, the rumor is backstage before he even came up, or even at the hotel, his room, wherever he was, for him to say, you know what, go ahead and say yes to stay in the marriage, because it seems like, the couples are going to say no, just so we can have a track record of at least one couple staying together. So that's the rumor. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. Well, Becca went first, and after consideration and thinking and her saying, well, Austin and the optics, she decided she was going to say yes for another chance. And then Austin gave a timid, yeah, they would too. But wait, okay. Emily, Claire saw Austin, Brennan, and I believe Cameron out with some production crew after the decision day. Yes, no, maybe so deal. And when they got together with everyone else for a pizza party, hangout, our last hurrah kind of thing before Michael and Chloe went on to do their own thing, well, that's when Becca confronted Austin, which, in my opinion, I didn't see anything wrong with her confronting Austin about the information she learned. My issue was with Becca confronting Austin in front of the group, because it was kind of like throwing him under the bus. When, she was the one that said, when cameras go away and things like that, maybe we could sift through our issues. And I just don't think that was the time and place to sift through issues and for Austin to continue. But Becca said that she didn't think things would work out. So here we are today for this episode. And it looks like Michael and Claire have 2 more weeks left to decide to get together, stay divorced, and also celebrate their month anniversary. And now it is 2 days after decision day. So after all that to do and what we saw last week, that now if you haven't already moved out of the shared apartment to go back home to your own place or somewhere else, this is tonight's episode. And I was just really surprised that we really only saw, what was it, Becca really moving her stuff, and Emily, because Brennan been left. I mean, he wasn't staying there full time anyways. And Claire had mentioned along the way as well, when she came over to help, who was it? Emily. She said, yeah, I got all my stuff in the car. Only took me an hour. I'm like, girl, it should have took you less than that, because Cameron left a long time ago too. So that was the premise. So is the coming back last week to see who is where, and then also to see the month anniversary and different things that Chloe and Michael are getting into. So let me see who's in the chat. Say hello, and then we'll move on. So we have Miss Jonda. Hello there. What's wrong with Becca? I don't know. And hopefully, if you saw the after party, this is it for everybody, or heard about the after party, I think the after party gave more tea than the episode. That's just me. If you didn't, I'll just give you little bits and pieces about that because somebody has some serious explaining to do. Okay. So, all right. So hello, Jonda. Hola, frappes and tea. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Comment, subscribe, and like the live. Thank you. Enjoy. And Sharon, hello there. You ready for the lies? The lies. Okay. The Oscar goes to me. And hello, Cynthia. How are you today? Yes. So, all right. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty, let me drop the link for anybody who wants to join in live. I know Miss Tamika said she was going to be out of town today, so she won't be stopping by on the live tonight, but hopefully she catches the replay and has had a safe trip back and forth with the things that she wants to do. So anybody else could jump on anytime. Someone doesn't have to be here or not. If you want to, click that link that says under Millennial Mom StreamYard. You have the option of showing your face on camera or not. It could be a blank canvas. And you can just talk to me through the panel, or you can continue on in the chat. That's fine too. Not a big deal. So it's up to you either way. All right. Now, I know that Lauren and Orion was last on the episode, but we're going to bring them to the forefront just to get them out the way. All right. Now, last week, we decided we were going to pull Lauren's black card, right? Now, what we said last week, because why are you even going to entertain Orion? Right, Sharon? The lies. Why are we entertaining him? So with everything that's gone on, I guess they kind of like recommitted to a friendship last week at the decision day, get together, after party, right? Or whatever. And so they're out hanging out for an activity. And after they're done with the activity, they sit down like, oh, yeah, that was fun. I'm feeling better, Lauren says. And she said that even before the process, she didn't know how it would be hanging out with Orion because, her feelings were hurt. She didn't feel like she had a lot of time in the relationship, and she didn't. Okay, their relationship lasted a total of 5 days. How long was the honeymoon? 5 days? So I would say maybe 3.5 days, and then the extra time we saw on camera. Okay. So Lauren said that, she's feeling good hanging out with Orion. She said that they, can be around with each other and be friendly, but she didn't know she wanted to take it to the next level to become friends on a regular basis. Now, notice I didn't say friends with benefits, but friends on a regular basis to keep it cordial. And so I'm thinking, what? Didn't you open the door to him last week and be like, well, if you want to, we can. I guess that's the whole point of you hanging out, right? Or is it just me? Chat, what do you think? Is it just me? Because I'm like, he didn't get that idea from himself. He got that from you. But anyways, moving on. So then, Lauren asked Orion, how he's been and is he out there dating? If so, what's happening? He goes, well, no, I'm not really dating. I thought like hanging out with you and being together with you, I don't feel like I'm completely done with the process. I'm like, oh, yes, you were. See, I'm talking back to the TV. Sometimes you got to talk back to these people, even though they can't hear you. I'm like, oh, yes, you were. You were done with the process when you told me on the honeymoon that you couldn't deal with me because of something that you said that I said when I just repeated what you said. Okay. So I don't know where he's getting that from. And then Lauren's thinking like, yeah, well, I think it would be good for you and good for me to date and hang out and, go our separate ways and just, be cordial. And I'm like, where are we even here? But Lauren told Orion that's not necessarily a bad idea, but that she just doesn't know right now. She's confused. How many times have we heard Lauren say she is confused or has been confused, whether it be on regular episodes with Orion in the very beginning on after parties, whether you've seen them or not, or just when they've come on sporadically when she's with the ladies, saying, I'm confused, I don't know what to do, and I'm moved on and I'm better than that, but yet you came back around to the beginning. I mean, make it make sense, Lauren. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if they want to come back together, technically that's their business. But what we saw, how he embarrassed you, Lauren made you feel less than Lauren, made you feel like, you had been derogatory to his whole entire tribe, nation, his heritage, everything. And you are thinking about coming back. And on top of that, had you on the floor crying crocodile tears? No, ma'am. But that's just me. That's just me. All right, let me read some comments. All right, Sharon, you say Lauren wants to be able to reject Orion like the other pink wearing crew. She's faking for the camera. Okay, you think she's faking for the camera? I don't know, because she flip-flops too much for me. She flip-flops. I think Lauren loves love. Most of us do, but some of us love a little bit more than they should with the wrong person. Lauren loves love, and in my opinion, she's too old to love for someone who told you you weren't good enough and had you on the floor for something you didn't even say. You know what I'm saying? She's loving love with the wrong person. Like, where is her self-esteem? All right, Jonda, you co-signed that. You said, yeah, Sharon, Lauren wants to do the rejecting. Too late, though. Okay. Cynthia, you say Lauren is more annoying than Orion. She is becoming more annoying, right? And you co-sign that too. I mean, if I'm sure that, we're all of a particular age, over the age of 18, 21, 25, 30, going on, up, we're all different ages and have different, ages and stages in our lives, right? And I'm sure we've all had relationships that, maybe have taken you there, right? And you may have taken the bite to go back again, but that's from someone you know. Orion is technically a stranger still, because after 5 days, he didn't take time out to know you. He just know what he thought he heard, because based off of something in perception that clearly he must have heard previously in his life before, as if he's the only one that's ever heard a derogatory term. That's just me. All right. Jonda, you say, okay, I'm with you on Lauren, the man who broke her down. Exactly. Had you on the floor. On the floor. Like you were, girl, you was, anyways. So we'll have to see how it works out next week, because the preview for next week with them, I was like, this cannot be real, but clearly it is. So that's Lauren and Orion. So I want to bring them up first to get all that out the way. So, all right. Now, there's a quick scene from Michael and Chloe, who are spending their afternoon at a farm helping animals. This is in Chloe's wheelhouse. She said she always loved animals, always wanted to rescue animals. She always wanted to have llamas, goats, horses, cows, whatever it is, that's in her wheelhouse. All right. And so she's happy to bring Michael in on the things that she loves, the rescuing of the animals. And the way that Michael was looking, the way he was looking around the farm, at first, because, again, Michael has to explain everything. He's saying, oh, well, maybe I could do this. Seeing the animals, especially one, was it a cow or something, that the lady at the farm said that the cow had a wheelchair to get around if they wanted to move around the farm. I'm like, how does that work? Anyways, so with that, Michael was saying, oh, well, I have some sympathy and empathy and care for, it's touched my heart for, taking care of these animals like that. So I can see where Chloe, this is from Michael, where Chloe is going with this. And so Chloe is thinking, okay, so Michael is, get into groove of these things, and maybe we can have a farm or a sanctuary one day. Michael's like, I don't know about all this. Maybe. He goes, I like doing this, but I don't know if this could be something we can do, like living in the city, because that's where Mike wants to live, in the city. I believe he wants to go to like Boston or somewhere like that, a bigger city than what they're in now, other than Denver. And Chloe is telling him, like, we could foster animals and move out somewhere spacious. And Michael's kind of like, I don't know if I want to do this. Now, I didn't notice this before, but, once they get to a little bit further in the episode, do you think this was the start of the make or break where Michael was concerned? Like, he You know what I mean? Chloe is a farm girl. She's outdoorsy, things like that. And, Michael is more eclectic with his style and just, he doesn't seem like he likes to get his hands dirty or have dirt under his nails. I'm just saying, did y'all notice that? Was that like the beginning of, I don't know about this, because Chloe is willing to give up what she's got going on now to do this. All right, let me read some comments. Sharon, you say Michael is a GQ guy, not a farmer. Exactly. And Johnny, you say, does Chloe really want a farm and foster teens at the time, 5 teens at the time? Or is she trying to make Michael say no? No, I think she really does, because why else would she go into detail with that? You know what I'm saying? She said she wanted to foster, and that was always her dream, going forward. So I think she's really saying that. I don't think that she's trying to make Michael say no. I didn't get that with that particular episode. All right. So let's move to Becca. She's packing her things in the apartment, and she gets a visit from Claire. And again, in the beginning, like I said, Claire said she had all her stuff packed. It only took her an hour. I'm like, girl, you probably didn't have too much in there anyways, because Cameron wasn't there. So you probably weren't living there full time. But okay, Claire. You know what? From last week's episode, I'm not on Team Claire at all. I think Claire is very messy just based off of last week's episode. Well, when Becca was getting the rest of her things together, she was telling Claire that, she was hoping for an apology from Austin. She's hoping things would get better for them, but, it didn't. And so when she asked Austin, because this came up again, because it's still fresh, about the producer situation, Austin said to her, how come, I can't be friends with the producer and have a wife? I'm like, that's true too, but it kind of depends on, in my opinion, how things came around or about when that producer was, producing you. You know what I'm saying? Like, whether extras going on backstage, where the text messages being exchanged that maybe came up. Now, a little bit of that did come on the after party, so I'll save a little bit of that for that part of this conversation. So Becca says that, Austin has changed. She felt like this whole entire time she's been gaslit by Austin and she's been controlled. Now, I could kind of see where she's been gaslit, but at the same time, she was pushing up on Austin like, can I have a kiss? Can we do this? Can we do that? And Austin, whether he was attracted to Becca or not, or simply just not ready, do you think it was truly a gaslit situation? And then in what situation did Becca see Austin being controlling? Because do you think she meant controlling when it came to intimacy? Because I didn't see that with Austin. I didn't see Austin flip his personality. Austin came across to me like quiet and reserved and, just going with the flow pretty much. What do y'all think? Jonda, you had mentioned a comment that I think the make or break happened for Michael and Chloe needed the break after the honeymoon. Oh, yeah, because that was real quick, huh? Yeah, that makes sense. Frappes and T said, you named your fish after another woman. That's true. Very true. Jonda, you also say, is a producer the reason Austin wouldn't give Becca intimacy? That could be it. Maybe he did have a more, sexual chemistry with the producer. Cynthia, you say, Becca complains about Austin, but she wants him. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like I said, the gaslit part I could kind of see, but the controlling part of it, I don't know what she means. I wasn't necessarily seeing that part unless it just strictly came over to the bedroom. Now, Claire did say, so what are you going to do with the fish? Are you keeping the fish? See, now that Becca knows, like Frappes and T said, that one of the fish is named after producers, Dee Dee. And Becca was like, well, if it was just me, and if I was like younger Becca, maybe the fish necessarily wouldn't make it. I guess low key in between, she was trying to say that she would flush the fish, but she didn't. Even before she left to move out to go where she was going, she said to the fish, she's like, bye, fishy. Maybe you'll have a mother, someone who's Christian who will love and pray over you. And I was like, is that a shot at Austin? Because I don't think that was necessary. Because I say that because I didn't hear Austin say anything like that to her. on camera. Now, whatever they said off camera is completely different. And with Becca saying that makes me think that Becca wasn't over the conversation about, who's going to double hockey sticks or not based on religion when Becca was crying. Y'all remember that episode a couple weeks ago when Pastor Cal had to step in? So let me read some more comments. Sharon, you said, Claire the villain. Becca, wake up. Austin is a liar, and I think he don't like women only as friends. Okay, there you go with that. So when Becca FaceTimes her friend later, she said that she didn't think, things would go this way. And when Becca's friends tell her, well, the relationships are hard, you put your all into it, and, you were missing things with Austin. And when Becca said she was possibly reconsidering the relationship, I was like, of course you are. Because Becca really does feel like she's missing something. Whether she is or not, I don't know. But Becca seems like she makes rash decisions like on the spot without thinking clearly, even though she wants to give the impression that that's what she does. She likes to think things through and then makes a decision. Absolutely not. And I say that because of what happened at the decision day after party when the group got together last week when she called Austin out on Front Street. Because again, if she really wanted to work things out with Austin behind the scenes, she wouldn't have did that, in my opinion. Cynthia says, I'm with you, Sharon. Austin likes females for friends. So let's move to Emily. So Emily's FaceTiming her friend before she moves out. Emily's saying it's bittersweet, it's sad. She was hoping it was a different result with Austin, and she really doesn't like being alone. Emily says that, Emily's friend tells her, well, maybe you're going through the grief process and you have to get through those emotions, because when you go through grief process, you go angry, mad, sad, trying to, bargain, things like that. And, you just go through ups and downs. And Emily says that's true. She feels like she's going through grief. Now, Emily also admits she's been crying a lot and she's been sad. But at the same time, she said with this whole process, she's thankful. She's going to travel. And I was like, Emily, you were crying, you were sad. I'm like, you were doing this again, another person from the honeymoon. We have yet to see you, Emily, not upset, sad, crying over whatever was happening with Brennan or behind the scenes or whatever. She's never seemed like she had a happy experience. The only time it seemed like Emily had a smile on her face was that dinner scene with Brennan in the beginning, right? When she did the reservations for the steakhouse, and after her accident, and she had, was like, I guess that was a thank you dinner for Brennan until Brennan turned the tables. And what happened again? She was on that floor in the bathroom crying over the comments. Now, I'm not saying Brennan was right by the things he was said to Emily, because they were wrong, most definitely. But yeah, she hadn't been happy the whole season. And on top of that, all the different mishaps. When was Emily happy? Can anyone tell me? Because I honestly don't know. Oh, maybe on the wedding day. And the wedding day and the beginning of the steakhouse. That's about it. So that's just me. What y'all think? John, you said Becca makes thirsty decisions. That's a good analogy. I like that one. Okay. So, all right. Let's see. Next, we have Austin, and it was real quick with him. He's packing his things. I'm like, why are we seeing Austin walk back into the house he shares with the roommate? I'm like, you left like the day before decision day. So that would have been like, for us, 2 weeks ago, right? When you took your stuff. So I'm like, what are you bringing into the door? You should have had all your stuff there anyways, because you clearly weren't living there anymore with Becca. Well, he said that it is bittersweet not being with Becca, because the roommate said, she said, so how's it like being back home without your wife? And then is it Mir, was Austin trying to be like, have a little tear in his eye? I'm not saying he can't be emotional, because feelings are emotions, right? Brennan, I know we're talking about Austin, but since Brennan didn't think so, but feelings are emotions. He was like, he admitted to maybe not doing the best thing when he lied about being out with the producer. But he also explained that he did lie to Becca, and he said that this was possibly the worst experience that he's encountered. He says what's hard is that Becca really invested in their relationship, and maybe he didn't take it as serious. Do y'all think Austin has regrets? He did say hindsight is 2020 when he was hanging out with his friends later. So y'all think Austin has regrets, or maybe regrets that he wasn't as upfront and honest earlier when he knew the attraction wasn't there, or whatever it was going on with them? Sharon, you said, what did Austin do for a living? He seems like a lazy guy. He talks in circles too. I don't know what he does for a living. I have no idea. I don't remember if they even said. Cynthia say Austin went to get the fish. Oh, was that the fish? Oh, okay. Because I'm like, what? But still, he just seemed like, talking to his roommate and then talking to his friends, he kind of seemed like he was down in the dumps. I'm like, Austin, this is what you wanted though, right? You didn't want to be with her after all this time, it seemed like. And now saying hindsight is 2020, which hindsight is 2020 for everything from A to Z. All right. So when we move to Brennan, he's hanging out with his friend playing pool. The friend is, of course, asking him, Cynthia, you say Austin cried dry tears? Yeah, definitely. Brennan's hanging out with his friend playing pool. And Brennan, Brennan's Brennan. He's got his face is very, I don't know, his personality, not his face, it's very dry. Remember the commercial, the Clear Eyes, the Clear Eyes guy? Brennan has that kind of commercial, that kind of personality, just one note across the board. Nope, no, nothing. It's just like, this is it, just real dry and sarcastic to me. But the friend, of course, is asking him how he's feeling. Brennan's like, you know what, I feel great. I feel like I made the best decision for me. And so Brennan's friend asked him, but how's the transition for you? You started out going 0 to 60, and now you went from 60 to 0. Now, how does that feel for you? Like, I thought you said, and I'm glad the friend said this, that divorce wasn't an option. Right, Sharon, RBF for Brennan, exactly. And I'm like, I'm so glad someone asked Brennan this, divorce wasn't an option, because Brennan said this to his family, and right before he got married to Emily. And he was like, well, you know what? I had to do what was right for me, because when you realize you're unhappy, you just can't stay in that type of relationship. I just couldn't make it work. I'm like, So Brennan now is like, forget the divorce, not an option. When you're not happy, you got to do what you got to do. I mean, technically that's how it goes, right? But then Brennan tells his friend about the different things he learned about Emily along the way. And so he was saying, yeah, I would find things about Emily that, we would do diary cams, and I would be going back, after her to do the diary because it's a little long. He goes, I saw what she said about me. And I was like, what? You feel this way about me? See, now on this, he has made Emily's point, because Emily said that to the experts, that if Brennan didn't like what she said on diary cam, he made her delete it. And I believe Brennan said, what? No, what are you talking about? Yeah, you did. Matter of fact, they said that on decision day, and Brennan denied that. So, but here's my thing though. I would think, I don't know, clearly it doesn't work like this, that when you do diary cam, then it's already, done and sent to production to edit, right? Because you're doing it solo. So how is it that Brennan is somehow able to see what Emily is saying? And why would it bother you so much, Brennan, what Emily is saying if that's her truth? Because you're allowed, Brennan, to tell your truth, but you didn't like what Emily was saying because it made you look bad, but yet you're trying to save her feelings. I mean, that's what Brennan said, right? So Brennan was truly trying to have this cake and eat it too. Cynthia, you said, to me, Cameron made it clear from the after party he dislikes Emily. Yeah, we'll get to that, Cynthia, for sure. All right, so he also said that Emily was going off on him for being controlling. Now, if anybody's controlling on here, men-wise, I definitely would give that crown to Brennan. Because just based off what he co-signed without even realizing he co-signed after, that he made That's what he said. He made her delete things on the diary cam, different things like that. He said that what Emily was saying was baseless. So I guess Brennan feels like whatever he says is the truth from here to Timbuktu, and that's it, right? So the friend asked him, so do you think it's over now? Do you think that you'll go back to her, to the relationship, to make amends, to be friends? Brennan was like, nah, I'm cool. I don't need to do all that. So in confessional, Brennan's friend said, he doesn't believe Brennan, and he feels like the way Brennan's even acting, that Brennan needs closure. I don't think Brennan would be honest anyways. Brennan doesn't give me honesty because Brennan, again, it's just like Emily said, and I'm not team Emily at all, that if it makes him look bad, puts a different light on him, he's not going to say it. So he's just going to stick with the script. What y'all think? What are your thoughts about that? All right. So later in the evening, we're moving back to Michael and Chloe. They're beginning to start their anniversary celebrations. They're out having drinks, and Michael said in confessional, after they had the suggestion of going to the adult novelty store and pick up a few things to liven up the bedroom and their relationship, they just kind of slid into doing what they do in the bedroom. So, so I guess things are going well for them in that department. But then when they're sitting around having drinks, they get into like a deeper conversation, which that's Michael's thing, right? So Michael brings up the conversation about, Sharon, you say, what's in the water in Denver? They're all liars. I don't know. This season just, man, one for the books. So Michael asked Chloe about the sanctuary thing again. He's like, are you sure this is what you want to do? We've moved to a bigger city. Like, how is this going to work? Here goes Michael again questioning this. And so Chloe's just 10 toes down. She's like, yep, this is what I want to do. I've always wanted to do it. And, hopefully in the future, I can pretty much leave her job, her career, and go do this, for animals that are, she said, who are on hospice, on their last leg, just to, make them have a better life before they transition over. And then they get into the conversation about having children and where they want to live together. Now, Michael brought up the fact that, they'll live together, but he said his lease is up in June. Chloe's is up in December. He goes, we'll just ride your lease out until we figure out what we're going to do. He said, in the meantime, maybe we could stay together like for maybe 5 days out the week and the rest of the time have time to ourselves. I was like, really? Are you kidding? You're married, right? It seemed like things were going pretty good, but why would you want to stay separate? Now, yes, I know that Chloe in the beginning of the relationship, once they got married, when they came home from the honeymoon, she wanted to go home for a couple of days to get things together. But they're at their 1 month now. They're trying to look forward to what they want to do in life, together. And he's like, no, we can spend like 4 to 5 days to take time out. So is he suggesting that he's not interested in the sanctuary? He's not interested in more than a certain amount of kids, and he's not interested in really like living together. And I'm more than a certain amount of time. And I'm like, that don't sound like you want to go forward to me all the way. You know what I'm saying? It's giving a friend with benefit that would connect on an intellectual level for Michael. All right. So after that, the next day, we see Michael calling Cameron. I'm like, is Cameron, out of all the people you want to call Cameron? Now, maybe you want to call Cameron to see what was really going on after decision day get together. Because, remember how Cameron got up and was like, nope, you're not going to tell me that I silenced you, Claire. You're the one that said XYZ. I'm the one that set the thing up with Brennan, not Brennan, all that stuff. So Michael wanted to get clarification from Cameron. And I'm like, okay, here's someone who's, to me, with a dry personality. But Michael suggested to Cameron, can you please open up? Let me know how you feel being not together, with Claire and how all that happened. And so Cameron start off with a conversation. He was like, well, it came down to like a mutual decision to split up. But then Cameron jumped into what happened at the decision day after get together. And so Cameron's like, you know what, I really don't want to vent, and then Michael was like, oh, well, go ahead and vent. I don't mind. So then Cameron got to talking about the silencing of the women. He goes, that's not even true. He goes, the last thing I did with Claire was silence her. He said, I've always told her you need to express yourself and that so we could be on the same page. He said they always had like a lapse in conversation. He said, matter of fact, Claire was Emily's puppet master. I was like, we saw that. But I think Emily also stirred the pot and it was like a mutual thing. He said that there's something about Claire and how they resolve conflict that just wasn't sitting well with him. That's why they couldn't continue. Now, here's the thought for you all in the chat and everyone on the replay. What do you think, or how do you think that's going to play out with Claire and her therapy career about conflict resolution and being impartial? Because I was like, if this Married at First Sight is technically an experiment, if you went through this experiment being, as Cameron would say, the puppet master or just telling all the business, because Claire did come back a few times with Emily, Becca, and Lauren along the way with the information. How do you think that's going to work out being an impartial therapy counselor along the way? Do you think that she'll be good with that? I don't know. I know this is just like, one part of it, but I'm just saying her how she deals with conflict just in her own personal business, hopefully doesn't come over to, her professional business. But anyways, Cameron said that he's all about growth. Well, he was telling Michael, you have to grow and move forward to know what it is you're going to do and make sure you're on the same page. And Michael co-signed that. He said, yes, he's about growth and, moving forward intellectually and spiritually and physically with Chloe. So I don't know. Do you also think that was a good phone call that he had with Cameron? Because I'm like, I don't think he really got a whole lot of information because he just called Cameron for the tea. That's what it came across to me. So Sharon says, is a no for Michael. Frappes and T said, I was questioning Claire's therapist skills in the beginning on the honeymoon. Okay. And then Sharon Yeltsin said Claire was a know-it-all. She analyzed everything from the beginning. She tried to analyze, but I don't think it worked out for her well because, she was constantly spilling the tea. I guess if you don't want someone's feelings to get hurt like Emily, but just everything seemed like if her and Cameron pillow talked or even conversating on the phone, it's like you had to give every part of the conversation with Cameron and conversation to the ladies that was in confidence. So that's my thing, the confidentiality of it all. Cynthia said Claire is messy. Exactly. Like I said, shout out to Devontae. She's like the messy bestie. Okay. So, all right. Now, sometime later, Michael and Claire are officially celebrating their anniversary. They have an indoor hot tub in the living room. Can y'all imagine? First of all, if you ever lived in an apartment, whatever, I'm sure a rental. Don't even have to be an apartment. In a rental, that is a no-no. How you can have a big old thing of water in like, what if it burst? Then what? Anyway. So they're talking about how thankful they are about making it to the point of the, 1 month anniversary. And then it leads into what it is they wanted going forward. So Chloe asked Michael, and I think at this time, Chloe is starry-eyed. She's saying to Michael, she's thankful for the relationship. But then again, she's asking him, did you get what you wanted or thought what you were going to get in a partner? And Michael, being Michael, gave his answer, which was full of this and that. He was like, yeah, I did. But then, how Michael goes into detail. And then Michael asked Chloe the same question back. And then Chloe said she came in the process looking for an empathetic man, someone who loved her entirely. And then she described Michael. She's like, well, originally I didn't get the 6 foot tall man that I got, but I got someone that's 5'11", does yoga, got a bun in his hair. So it seemed like they were vibing right then and there, right? But then Chloe said, if decision day was tomorrow, what would you say? And you know what? Watching Married at First Sight for all the seasons, normally when that question comes up, the couple is usually on a rocky path. It's very rare that the couple is on a smooth path, because if you're on a smooth path and you feel like you're rocking together, they don't normally ask those questions. They usually, we'll see you on decision day, with a big smile on their face, right? So, but I was surprised what Michael said, though. Michael says that things are trending in the right direction, but even though they have sustained an emotional connection, the emotional connection needs to be leveled up. Now, Chloe said, so am I hearing you say if decision day was tomorrow, you would say no? Michael said he had insufficient data. I said, insufficient data? Wow. I just went wow for about a minute. Like, wow. He has insufficient data with Chloe. I was not expecting that, just based off of just Michael, his personality, his appearance, the things he likes, he doesn't like, and his long-winded conversation. But Chloe took that to heart and she was like, wow, well, happy 1 month anniversary. So that got her mind thinking like, what in the world is going on here? Because I just, woo. Anyways, Jonah says, great point, Kay. I wonder why Chloe asked about D-Day. Cynthia says, Chloe is weird to me. You laugh too. Chloe's not weird to me. Chloe just seems like, kind of like, when I say this, I just mean just from their experiences. I think Chloe is kind of like Emily, where they haven't had a lot of relationships, because we know Emily hasn't had any real relationship. She said her relationships were based on really like one night stands, versus Chloe, who mentioned that she's had relationships, but not as many long-term, because she's ended up pushing men away for whatever she didn't feel they would bring into the relationship. So I think, that's, she was like, wow, kind of like I was. Sharon, you say, her lifestyle seems so different from him, so he's having second thoughts. I mean, both their lifestyles are different. I mean, that's obvious, but I mean, he's looking at my accessories and be like, girl, can I borrow this? Second thoughts from what? I think it's second thoughts, honestly, from wanting to have like rescue animals. And Michael seems like he, again, wants to move from Denver to the big city. He keeps mentioning Boston. You know what I'm saying? He's ready to just, go on with his career, probably make as much money as he can make, and just, boom, get the house, eventually kids, like that. Versus Chloe, who, I'm not saying Michael isn't, but she was a CEO of her own business. So I guess, that definitely makes her self-made. So I guess she hopefully has put away a lot from her business and is ready to retire and do whatever really at any time. So I think on that aspect is where the main aspect where they're kind of thrown off, but I don't know. Jonda, you say, Michael said, don't get my pearls and squirts messed up. I know. Okay, exactly. All right. Now, the next day after that, after the month anniversaries, Micah and Chloe get a visit from Dr. Pia. I was very surprised that we even saw an expert at this point, but I guess technically, the experts do come in around the month anniversary. I mean, it's been so long since we've seen anybody really deal with an expert for any particular reason. Would you say, Cynthia? You said Chloe says she's an introvert, needs time to herself, but wants 5 problem teenagers. Okay, exactly. So Dr. Pierre comes to visit and said, asking them how they feel things are going. Michael says things are going great. Okay. But they haven't had a time to invest in certain things. Chloe's not really saying anything. She has like this look on her face. She's probably still in her feelings from the night before of, possibly saying no from the lack of data. And so Dr. Pierre mentioned, how have y'all combined families? And so when Michael said that, well, we haven't really combined families, my mom still doesn't know yet, Dr. Pierce said, what? They don't know yet. How come? But when Chloe co-signed, well, you know what? I just let him ride with that because I feel right now it would be bringing the families in would be like a high level of anxiety. And, I just didn't want to have it come down to that. And so I guess they're trying to say that because Michael went through the experience before, they'll bring his mom in now, maybe her emotions, her nerve, whatever, she wouldn't be able to handle it. But again, if it did continue to say yes past decision day, what are you going to say then? Oh yeah, I got married secretly after the fact. So I mean, it's to me, it's a no-win situation. John Day, you say Dr. Pierre turned out to be a non-factor. Okay, you are a non-factor. So I mean, she encouraged Chloe and Michael to keep going and keep building and working towards the future. But besides, John says not being a non-factor. What are your thoughts about that? Do you think that, I was going to say that before you did, like, do you think that anything came about that conversation with Dr. Pia? I'm going to say no too. I don't think so. I just think that Dr. Pia was thrown off by the families not being integrated already and different things like that. And so they also mentioned the fact of how are they going to live after the process if they made it. And Michael also brought up the fact again about not wanting to live together, wanting to live separately. And Dr. Pierre was like, you're married. Why would you want to live separately? So she also said that, you both need to be on the same page when not just on camera, but when these cameras are done so you can move forward. And I'm just saying, it's like, this is the second time around for Michael and the first time for Chloe. So you would think that there would be a little bit more guidance with the experts. But again, here we are again, a month in, one expert checks in and is like, hey, and it's always the same experts, Dr. Pia twice. She suggested the adult novelty store. And then again, saying, how are things going? Like, they need more assistance in that. I mean, with the first couples that didn't make it, and she was part of that decision day, they should have immediately jumped in and try to guide this couple to see what they can do to help. But nope, they don't do that. They were hands off with that. So that was it in the episode. I'm going to get into the after part in just a second. Now, next week, Chloe is saying they need to move in together in order for them to stay married. And Michael says he's not comfortable buying a house together. Are y'all surprised at that? When Chloe gave the ultimatum, like, in order for us to stay in this relationship, to be married, we have to live together. And Michael says, no, I'm not comfortable buying a house. So I don't know what y'all think about that. That's already given like a, Michael is teeter-tottering here. Also, next week, we're going to see Lauren. I believe she's talking to her sister or a friend. She's telling them that her and Orion, after their activity, they went back to her place. They ended up talking to 2 a.m. She said Orion made her feel comfortable in the moment. I said, oh, yeah? Comfortable like what? Were you just talking? Were you talking and making out? I know that part's none of my business, but I mean, why is he there till 2 a.m.? Okay, in my opinion, after the activity, if, since you chose to hang out and then maybe getting a bite to eat, I'll holler at you, okay? Especially if you're supposed to be building up your confidence about a friendship. Why are you still chit-chat? You know what I'm saying? And in person, no ma'am. Cynthia says Michael is easing out of his marriage. Definitely. All right. Also next week, Becca is FaceTiming her mom saying she's having second thoughts about Austin. Not surprised about that at all. And then all the ladies come together to talk to Chloe and ask, they all hang out, I guess, in the nightlife. And they're asking Chloe, so it was Becca leading this conversation. So what would happen if Michael says no on decision day? And is it me if you saw it? Or did Becca have a smirk on her face when she said that? You know what I'm saying? I was like, I don't know if I liked how they did that little situation there, how they brought it out the blue. Because just by what we know, they're probably talked about it as a group and was like, hey, let's throw this on her to see what she's going to say. And then also to next week's episode, in the evening time, Michael is going to tell Chloe that he's questioning the marriage. Awesome. I hope we get more details about the questioning of the marriage to see why Michael feels like that data is insufficient. Sharon, you say they want Chloe to be in the same boat as them. Alone. Okay. Mic drop, Sharon. Alone. Yes, ma'am. That was the quote of the evening. All right. Now, on the after party, it was actually an hour long. Keisha hosts 4 people. They have Brennan and Chloe that were separate, and then they also did Cameron and Becca. Now, with Brennan and Chloe, I don't think they gave a whole lot. Chloe doesn't really give a whole lot of information. To me, she gives you information of the episode, and that's about it. She doesn't necessarily go off script like Emily, Becca, Claire, and Lauren anytime that they're on the after party, okay? But what she did say is that her gut is never wrong, and that, it never steers her wrong. And she says that she hopes on decision day is to reconcile what her and Michael want and think is important, and that they're on the same page. But she says that she still doesn't know what Michael wants. I'm like, well, that's telling right there. That sounds like that's a no, but that's just me. Okay. And then Brennan is talking about everything he wanted to when it came to the after party get together. He admitted that he made friends with a lot of producers and cameramen on the show. He said, but one producer actually texted him the last day that she was working. So apparently that was her last day on the job. So, I know we talked about last week. Well, I guess she gonna be fired. Well, since that was her last day, she don't gotta worry about it. But she probably won't be on no more shows of Lifetime, or when it comes to Married at First Sight, I mean. And so he said that, originally they were all going to hang out for drinks and things like that. And so it wasn't just him. It was him. He said someone named Greg. I don't know if that was a cameraman or a friend of his. Well, they ended up going from one bar. They did a bar crawl. They went from one bar to the next, to the next. Well, eventually, by the time they got to the third bar, that's when the ladies were, and that's where they saw them and assumed, this is what Brennan said, that he and Greg were hanging out with the production team. Well, the way he said it, hanging out with production, but maybe, if they saw him, maybe he was all up on her or close to her or hugged up, whatever it was, to make it seem like it was something going on. Because I'm sure Emily and Claire know what the production team looks like and some cameramen, to where they would know that, this is who they are and to go forward. And, so Brennan must have been being maybe a little handsy, or maybe the production person was being handsy too. So I don't know how that was to be. Sharon, you say Austin was talking in circles again and Chloe was faking being optimistic. Chloe has faked being optimistic from the very, very beginning. That's from the Pearl situation with Michael going forward, in my opinion. Okay. And Brennan, yes. I said Brennan. I'm sorry. I meant Austin. Excuse me. It was Austin. Austin and Chloe. Austin does talk in circles. Excuse me. Finally, it was Cameron and Becca. Cameron said he's feeling okay since the last time we saw him. And he said the last few weeks were a lot to handle for him. He was asked about his health. He said he was okay. And, he was trying to do the best he could. Now, is it me? Is Becca's voice naturally emotionally and shaky, or was Becca being emotional? You know what I'm saying? Because maybe that's her natural voice. I don't know. She has also cried and been emotional, which is okay to be emotional, right? Through the whole season. I'm like, is that her real voice? I couldn't figure it out then. So Keisha shows clips of the get together again, and Becca says she's still a little bit angry and emotional about it. Becca said she wanted to call Austin out at the group because Keisha asked her, was that really the place to do it? She said because she felt like Austin wouldn't lie to her there. And Becca also said that Austin had been lying to her since day 2. I'm like, day 2? You hadn't even got on the honeymoon on day 2. It was like wedding and then the next day, family and friends, and then on the third day, going to honeymoon. So she felt like he was lying to her from day 2, but yet you also want to continue to try your relationship. So it was asked, so what is he lying about? And Becca said Austin was just strictly being dishonest. She found him texting people in the bathrooms when, or hiding and texting in bathrooms. And she also said that he was vaping. She goes, even though, I don't mind if he's vaping, but he just wasn't honest that he vaped. So it's like, okay, but who is he texting? That's what she really should have got into. And I think eventually as time went on, she was alluding to he was texting to this one producer. And I'm like, well, how would you know that unless unless Brennan didn't have security on his phone, and 2, you were actually like standing behind him or sitting next to him and could actually see what he was taping. Cynthia, you say Becca is an emotional wreck. She definitely is. Sharon, you say Becca had RBF. She had something on her mind for sure. Yes. Okay. Also, too, then they get back to, and then Becca wants them, like I said, she wants a marriage. So, I mean, she's saying he was dishonest from day 2. Why do you want to continue a marriage for someone who you felt from the very beginning was honest? It's not the same as Lauren, but I mean, almost like you want to be with Orion in a way, and he did a certain way. But anyways, moving to Cameron. Cameron says, well, based on the clip, yes, Cameron lied. It seemed he wanted to avoid conflict, but saying no, that he didn't do it made him worse. So when Keisha asked Cameron about the relationship with Claire, Claire said, you know what? Before the event, him and Claire actually went out. And that's when he said that Claire told Cameron to lie, or not necessarily, have her back to get Brennan about the double date thing. And Cameron's like, nope, I'm not going to lie to break up someone else's marriage. I mean, I will tell you what happened, but I'm not going to lie for that. So apparently in the background, it was already rumblings of this is the time to out Brennan, and Cameron said he wasn't going for it. So I was like, He also said that Claire would also send him text messages about different things that was going on to be on the same page and what not to say. So she didn't look bad. I said, so Claire was like the female Brennan on here about what to say, what not to say. But then Becca jumps in saying, well, Cameron, be honest, because that's not what you were saying to Claire. That's not what Claire said to me. Why is it these ladies, minus Chloe, get on this after party and decide to spill the beans? Okay, not one of them have not said anything. They've always taken this opportunity to say something about like, see, no, because the lady's talking, this is what happened, blah, blah, blah. That's why all of them have said no. Okay, I know they didn't have good men, but I think the ladies were checked out along the way as well. So Becca says that she's seen some texts that Claire sent to her, and the things that Cameron was saying about what he didn't want to say, and just, about her looks, and how he would make her look bad and silencing her, that she saw this and Cameron was lying. And Cameron said, Claire, no ma'am. He said, I have the real text. You have some, of the text that was sent to you. So you might want to sit this one out. And I was like, yes, Cameron, it's about time, but don't get your blood pressure up doing this. Okay. So then, let's see. Cameron says that Becca said that Cameron was trying to make Claire's narrative his benefit. And Cameron's like, no, that's not even what it is. And he said, everything you have is out of context. So then Cameron brought up the fact that not just since you want to go there and, want to put me on Front Street, he said it was Emily when it came down to Brennan and Claire and all this other stuff, since we want to put us men on Front Street by silencing, that it was Emily who along the way ended up cheating on Brennan, who she met at a bar. This is Emily, met some guy from Australia at a bar and ended up making out with him. Now, how do you think Cameron would know this, Becca, okay? Unless Claire, who Cameron calls the puppet master, is talking, meddling, being messy behind the scenes, because that's the only way that Cameron would know, the same way she claims she knows everything else, right? So guess what? That stunned Becca into quiet, because when it came up, well, Becca, is this true? Do you know anything about this? She was like, looking kind of like, ooh, maybe I shouldn't say. She's like, yeah, it's true. But only after Emily saw things on Brennan's iPad talking with other girls. And that's why she felt like she wasn't being met with her needs, that she went on and cheated. I'm like, nope. So Emily took the first step and stepped out on her. So maybe this is what Brennan didn't want to say then, when he's like, I don't want to make you look bad. So maybe this was it. Emily cheated. So I heard next week on the after party, Emily is supposed to come out and tell her side of the story about that. So there we go. All right, I'm gonna read y'all comments and I'm gonna let you go. Cynthia says, I believe Cameron. I do too. Absolutely. Cameron has nothing to lose. And Claire, to me, has been messy from when she talked about the double dates and everything else with Brennan, and then not telling Emily about anything with Brennan before. Anyways, y'all know, you watched it. Andres, hello, said Emily is going to be on the after party in 2 weeks. Oh, 2 weeks? Okay, thank you. All right. And say the kiss was an entanglement. Oh, no, sir, not an entanglement. Okay. And then Sharon says that's what Brennan had on Emily and said he could ruin her, but didn't want to. Yes, I think so too. As much smack that Emily talked on the after party up until yesterday's after party, she didn't mention that. She talked about everything else, about Brennan, whoever other gossip she had, how she didn't feel safe, this and that, but she didn't talk about that entanglement she had. Okay, so boom, Cameron dropped the T. Now, Becca also said that she didn't know why Cameron was mentioning Emily, because it's irrelevant to the Cameron and Claire conversation. Well, Becca, you also don't get to control the narrative and silence people, okay? That's the whole thing for this Married at First Sight season. Optics, silencing, controlling the narrative. So that was that. I thought the after party, just with that snippet from Cameron, gave life to the whole episode. So, woo, there it is. So, all right, y'all. Any other comments before we get out of here? So next week, going forward with Michael and Chloe, not being on the same page, Michael questioning whether he can move on in a relationship. He said he's been thinking about things. From Lauren explaining what she was doing at 2 a.m. with Orion. And anything else that comes up, I'm here for it, because it looks like we're finally getting to the drama for the last 3 weeks of the season, so we can finally clear out Married at First Sight Denver, because listen, this was a slow ride. So, all right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you have a good evening, and I will see y'all next time. All right. So take care. Good night, everyone.